parking lot. Road time. All right.
Autumn came with cold, hard rain.
Oh yeah. Whew, that's a lot of syrup.
It tested all the trains again. Wind made way for amber gray that paints the passing lane. I've seen some things that made me weep and buckled both my knees, but nowhere I would rather be when fall takes hold in Tennessee. There were days.
Welcome back, everyone. As you can tell, I am not in Norway anymore. I'm actually in the Great Smoky Mountains here in North Carolina and Tennessee. You cross over the border a lot, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit later when it's a little quieter and not so harsh. We're gonna talk about the updates to my channel, where things are going, what I'm doing, what we're gonna be up to. So stay tuned for that. That's what this video is gonna be about. But for right now, I wanna talk about this waterfall shot that you just watched me try to take. I actually didn't end up taking any images because the light is just too harsh. I've actually been here for 4 or 5 days, scouting around, learning the area, dealing with a lot of rain on the last couple days. And then the first day I was here was this incredible overcast but sunny day. And what that means for the shot behind me when I found this shot is that the light would peer through just strong enough to brighten up parts of the waterfall, but not so bright that it looked harsh. And that's what's really important for shots like this, because you can't shoot this at sunrise, you can't shoot it at sunset, because there's no light actually here in the valley, so you have to shoot it during midday. And as you can tell right now, this harsh light doesn't exactly work for waterfall shots, so you just have to hope that you get some of that nice overcast light, but with the sun peering through. I got that on that first day, and I was here for about an hour and a half, between maybe 3 and 4 p.m. I want to say, and the light was just absolutely gorgeous. Here are some of the images straight out of camera from that day. I took 3 different compositions moving up the waterfall. As you can tell, there's a plethora of shots here. And what impressed me the most is just how incredible those images were straight out of camera. Normally when I'm shooting waterfalls, I have to blend in different exposures. I gotta bring the highlights down on one, I gotta bring up the shadows on another, and I'm just doing a lot of work to get the waterfall to look right. In this case, straight out of camera, it looks like I've already done all the editing, and I really was impressed by those images. But I'll show you those images after I've edited them, when I'm done talking. But for now, I'm just gonna sit and wait and see if the light changes. But I think for the most part, there's not a single cloud in the sky. Okay, so even though the light is harsh, I did end up taking a few shots because it is just absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if they're gonna work because based off the back of my camera, they look pretty good. But usually when the light is this harsh, I won't be able to tell how harsh it is until I get it on the computer. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But I felt like I'm here, I got the camera out, I might as well take a few shots. And I'm taking a different composition than I did last time because the light is in a different spot. I really love this composition. I'm shooting with a circular polarizer and a 3-stop ND so that I can get my shutter speed to about 0.8 seconds, 1 second roughly, and that makes the water look really nice. And also, the circular polarizer is what makes this shot. Without a circular polarizer, you cannot take these shots. It cuts out all of the reflections on these rocks, and it really adds a lot of depth and saturation on those mossy textures. Super important for the shot. Here's the shot regardless of how I feel about it. You can tell me whether the light was too harsh or not in the comments down below. Hope you enjoy.
There were days I'd write your name the second I'd awake again. Summer came, I'd aim to pay, but you never remained. It used hold in Tennessee.
One of the benefits of living in your car is I can just walk from the waterfall and actually check those images on my computer. It's pretty great. Hey, pardon the interruption. I just want to say thank you for all the support. And if you wanted to help support me in more ways than just liking and subscribing to this channel, you can do that with a little link down below where you can find things like my Patreon. Patreon is a really great way to help support me living on the road full-time and making content like this. You can get credit at the end of every video for helping support me. You get access to raw edits that I do from time to time. You can even get a postcard from me once a month. So check that out down below. You can also check out my Lightroom editing companion. Maybe you're a photographer and you want a more linear workflow directly built into Lightroom. You can also find that in the link. You can find things like my workshops, you can find things like prints, or anything in between. All of it helps, and if you can't do any of that, just sharing this video with someone in your family or a loved one that might be interested in travel or anything of that nature. Let's get back to the video.
Used to sing about useless things, the clutter of my dreams. It ceased to mean a guiding thing when fall takes hold in Tennessee. Fall takes hold in Tennessee.
All right, we're on a bit of a waterfall hunt here. Driving around, looking for waterfalls I haven't found or shot yet. This little one, which gets a little bit bigger behind me, is the first time I'm seeing it. So let's see if we can find anything. Don't have a lot of time left for the sun is obviously right there, but it's gonna go behind this mountain pretty soon. So let's see if there's any compositions back here. Let's see if we can get down here. Woo. Look at all those flowers. Ah, it's All right, we ended up finding a really gorgeous scene here as you saw me shooting with all of these moss-covered rocks, but we got a lot of light on these leaves over here. So I was keeping these in the frame on the left-hand side because this is where the light was kind of touching. It was also touching a little bit over here. It was hitting the waterfall. It was absolutely gorgeous. As you can tell, the scene is not that large, but in the photo, it's gonna look much bigger. But right here, that little waterfall right there is probably only the size of my hand, but it appears much larger in the actual image. Again, shooting with a polarizer, and I believe, am I using it? Let me check. No, I was shooting with a 3-stop in D, but then the light got a little bit lower and lower. As you can tell, the sun is right there, and we have now lost all the light in here. But as the sun was going down, there was still some really nice light right here, but it got darker and darker, and it meant the light was less harsh on the hot spots. So I took my 3-stop ND off, and those are probably the photos that are gonna look the best because the darkest parts and the brightest parts are closer together. I did bracket a few images just in case I needed to recover a lot of the highlights that are on these leaves back here, but I'm not sure I'll have to use it, but I took a few just in case. All right, so that's enough talking about the image. Absolutely gorgeous. I love just walking around and finding spots like this and just kind of exploring around. By the way, I forgot to mention there's even some flowers up here. Not sure they got caught in the actual image. Maybe, maybe not. Anyways, here is the image. We're gonna get back on the road. We got things to talk about, and we're gonna shoot sunset, so stay tuned.
Make me understand and shed a light.
been an absolutely gorgeous day and we haven't even gotten to sunset yet. But I wanted to update everyone that cares about me or this channel or what the heck is going on in my life, because the last time I really did an update was all the way, I think, back in October, maybe when I was talking about life on the road, struggling with YouTube or something along those lines. And if you've been following along for the longest time, you're probably wondering what the heck happened to driving to Argentina, which I'll get to. But just a small update is that if you didn't notice, or you did notice, I took about a 6-week break back in February. I could feel myself burning out. I tried to tone it down during the holidays, both December and January, and only make videos once a week and also work on some photos and make some photos. But then I realized I just needed to cut everything. I just need to think about other things because I felt myself always thinking about it, always still feeling like I was on the grind. And I knew that once I went to Norway, I would get back on the saddle again and really start putting effort in and feel motivated to start again, which I did. And if you followed all the Norway stuff, it was pretty challenging. And then at first, I got out there in the first 6 days, I was like, oh man, is this really what I want to do? That motivation shot way down when the weather wasn't cooperating. But at the end of the day, I still ended up coming away with some really amazing images and felt satisfied after my trip. So what does that mean now? Well, without getting into too much detail, I do like to be transparent, but it's a very personal thing. Over the last couple months, I met someone, and if you already know, living on the road, well, love life on the road is pretty transient. It's pretty come and go, and it's pretty rare. And I met someone, and then it didn't work out. So because it didn't work out, I have been feeling a bit lost, to be completely honest. I had a lot of ideas in my mind of what the next couple months looked like, and when that suddenly ended, I was like, well, now what do I do? My original plan when I went to Florida for the holidays was to possibly spend the spring and summer driving up the East Coast, because if you followed along last year, I went up the West Coast all the way to Alaska, and that was my summer adventure. This year I was thinking, well, if I'm going to drive to Florida, why don't I just go up the East Coast? It's far less traveled, I think, by a lot of my peers, and honestly just far less photographed by people like me. So not only would it be challenging, it would also be fun, and I get to do something that a lot of people don't ever get to do. But because things didn't work out in my personal life, I was really, really feeling this gravity towards going back west, because there's people out there, and I have a bit of structure and people that I could see, and that would help a lot with my mental health, because the ultimate struggle about living on the road, especially if you didn't follow along last year when I was in Alaska, is isolation. Not seeing anyone I knew, not being with anybody for months, and that can really start to weigh on you. So that weighed in my mind, and I've actually sat here in the Smoky Mountains thinking about what I should do for the past week, and I didn't want to make a decision immediately and start driving west. I promised myself I would just sit here and think about it, because I ran a poll on my Instagram asking, should I go west of the Rockies or go up the East Coast? And after 200 votes, it was like 52% head west. So I was like, all right, well, this didn't really help. But anyways, the ultimate decision, I think, is that I am going to drive up the East Coast. It's not what I feel like would help me mentally, but I think in the long run, it's what I would look back on and want or wish that I did. So that's what I'm going to do. But I thought you guys deserved an update, because I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to start making a lot more videos on the road again. And that's where you come in. I can't do this without you. So if you supported me in the past, or you're supporting me now, or you're just watching this video, it means the world to me. And thank you for listening to me ramble on about what's going on with life. Now, the last thing is Argentina. So if you've been following along, I went to the Arctic Ocean, and my plan was to drive to Argentina. Now, tentatively, that was supposed to happen in 2024. January of 2024 was what was in my mind to leave the States and start heading towards Argentina. But if I'm being completely honest, it's one of those things where when I realized that it's going to be a 2-year trip, because I want to take my time getting down there, maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months. Then I also want to spend a year down there because I'm there and I have my car to live in, and when is the next opportunity I'm going to get to do that? And once I really started thinking about that, that means that I just turned 34, that by the time I get back, I'll be 37. And one of my goals in life is to have a partner and possibly start a family. And I'm realizing that if I dedicate the next 2.5 years of my life, 3 years almost, when am I gonna be able to do that? Because these are kind of the prime years, or the years that I have left to hopefully start something like that. So I haven't fully made a decision on if I'm going or not. I haven't said absolutely not, or I haven't said absolutely yes. I still have time to figure that out. But it is weighing on me that I have to give up a lot of the future years to go and do that. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to let myself down, because it is really important to me and it matters to me. It's something that for months I thought, this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna start planning, we're gonna start contacting people, we're gonna make this happen. And the more I've thought about it, I just don't necessarily know if I can afford to sacrifice that amount of time, future time, and give up, well, again, relationships, choosing to be isolated for the next couple years. And while I do meet people, and I've met some amazing people on the road, it's not the same as developing real deep connections with people or taking the time to develop those. I'll talk more about that, I'm sure, in future videos, but that's a small update about Argentina now. I would love to know your thoughts about going to Argentina in the comments. I'd just love to know your thoughts in general about anything related to this update or what's going on. Anyways, thank you for listening. We still have to shoot sunset, so we're gonna go do that now. And I appreciate you hanging out, tagging along, being here on my journey.
Shed a light when I find my love on all the reasons why I walk across the earth and look up at the sky. When I find my love, when I find my love, all I explain all that I done wrong, and don't you know my love will place no blame. When I find my love, I'll comb my hair all night, I'll take it for a stroll and look up at the sky.
All right, the sun has set. We took some photos, we took some video, took some time lapses. Absolutely gorgeous sunset. Not gonna be able to really see it through the camera here on my phone, but I'm sure you saw it in the clips and you're gonna see it in the photos that I'm about to show you. But that's gonna end the video here. As always, if you like the video, you can like it. If you loved it, consider subscribing. I'll see you again on the next one. It's gotta be a rainbow out there somewhere. I'm sure we're gonna find some here on the East Coast at some point. Later. Take it